Good evening, everyone. We'll begin tonight's meeting of the Clovis City Commission. I would like to welcome you commissioners, as well as the city manager, city staff, department heads, guests that have joined us, and I would also like to welcome the viewing public. The meeting this evening is being broadcast or shared on the city's Facebook page. The city's website is cityofclovis.org, and it is also on Suddenlink Channel 10. And we encourage the public to not only view, but participate in the meeting by providing public comment or communications when we reach that point in the agenda. You can call in and join the meeting in order to do that. And you can do that by calling 575-763-9200. We will begin tonight's meeting with a moment of silence for a longtime city employee, 18 and a half year city employee, Ruben Alfaro. He was, as I said, for 18 and a half years, a dedicated city employee and a wonderful man. And he has passed away. He was the superintendent, assistant superintendent, that is, at the wastewater treatment plant. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Alfaro family, and we want to honor him with a moment of silence tonight. We'll do that immediately following the moment of silence. I will lead us in a prayer, and then we will honor our flags. Let's have a moment of silence for Ruben Alfaro. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening grateful for the many blessings that we enjoy. Certainly, God, we ask that you would provide comfort and peace to Ruben Alfaro's family, and we thank you for what he meant to the city of Clovis. And Father, this evening, as we look around our country, we pray for healing, we pray for peace, and Lord, we pray for people to turn their eyes toward you and to find common ground. And Lord, we pray that you would help us to all find common ground and to work for a common good. And Lord, we thank you for the privilege it is to live in this wonderful community. And we pray that you would, in this new year, pour out your blessings on Clovis. Lord, bless us with health and prosperity. And this evening, as we meet it, we pray you'd guide us and give us wisdom as we conduct the business of the city of Clovis. We pray these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Join me in the pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all.
I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico.
This is a symbol of perfect friendship among
united cultures. This meeting of the Clovis City Commission has been called to order. Could we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Lovett.
Commissioner Lovett here.
Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner Madrid here.
Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals here.
Commissioner Elliott.
Commissioner Elliott here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant here.
Commissioner Garza.
Commissioner Garza here.
Commissioner Renda.
Commissioner Render here.
Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley here.
Mayor Morris.
Present. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the approval of the agenda. And as you know, commissioners, when we're meeting in this mode, on any action items, I'll go to each of you in a rotating manner to ask you if you have any anything to add, any questions. In this case, I'll I'll go to each of you in order and ask if you have any recommended changes or removals from tonight's agenda. I'll begin with Commissioner Madrid.
No changes. Commissioner Madrid here.
Thank you. Commissioner Render,
No changes, Commissioner Render.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, no changes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, no changes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, no changes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, no changes.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, no changes.
and finally Commissioner Casals.
No changes.
And do I hear a motion for approval?
Commissioner Garza approves.
Second.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Garza, second from Commissioner Render. Could we please have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Madrid,
Commissioner Madrid, yes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Renda,
Commissioner Render, aye.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett.
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Thank you. By a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried and the agenda has been approved. Next is approval of minutes. Commissioners, you've had the opportunity to review those. I'll check with each of you for any corrections that you would suggest. And I'll begin with Commissioner Render.
Commissioner Render, no changes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, no changes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, no changes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, no changes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, no changes.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, no changes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, no changes.
and finally Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner Madrid, no changes.
Do I hear a motion to approve
So
the
moved.
minutes?
Commissioner Garza, second.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Casals and second from Commissioner Garza. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Renda,
Commissioner Render, aye.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner who?
Commissioner Madrid,
Commissioner Madrid, yes.
Okay, thank you. By a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried and the minutes from the December 17th, 2020 meeting have been approved. Next is recognition of visitors. Again, would like to welcome everyone to this evening's meeting. If you've joined the meeting as a visitor, we look forward to hearing from you when we reach that point in the agenda that you're here to speak to. If you're here to provide public comment, or if you've called in and wish to provide public comment, we will hear from you in receipts of petitions and communications. So next is proclamations, awards, and presentations. And we have a few items there this evening. The first is presentation of plaque to Durwood Billington, wastewater treatment plant superintendent. Durwood is, Mr. Billington is leaving the city of Clovis after many, many years of dedicated and exemplary service to the city of Clovis. I believe that I'll give Mr. Bunch the opportunity to speak if he likes, or we could go to Mr. Howalt first. I'll let the two of you choose.
I will let Mr. Bunch go first.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Thank you, Justin, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. Tonight, I'm very honored to get to talk about a man's life's work, and that man is Alvis Durwood Billington. And many of you don't know that his name was Alvis, and he didn't like to be called Alvis, but I can call him that because we're online right now. And there's one reason for that. The first thing you notice about Durwood when you see him is that's a big man. And that's the first thing you notice is that is a very large man. But that man is a very kind man, a very gentle man, a very funny man, and a wonderful coworker. I've worked with Durwood for basically the whole time he's been here. I believe it's almost 25 years for both of us. In that time, I've learned so much from Durwood. I don't think I know anybody else around that knows more about their field than Durwood does. If anybody's ever talked to Durwood, you know something about the wastewater treatment process and the wastewater treatment plant. The man is knowledgeable beyond my means. He does things with the plant that's amazing. He has a touch. It's not all science. It's not all math. There's a touch needed to run a plant and run a division like that, and Durwood has it. And I'm not going to take up a lot of time because I could talk about Durwood all night long because I'm very impressed with the man. I'm going to miss the man. We're all going to miss him here. He's been a valuable asset to the city, and I'll let anybody else want to speak because I know a lot of the commissioners and the city staff have worked with him for a long time, and I know there's going to be great things said about him, and they're all very deserving.
Thank you for that, Mr. Bunch. Mr. Howalt?
Thank you, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. I'm not going to call Durwood Alvis because he's in this building, and so he knows where my office is, so I'll stay away from that. No, I first got to meet Durwood when I came to work for the city of Clovis back in 2009, and Clint has hit the nail on the head with a gentleman that is caring, has the biggest heart, and dedicated to his profession. Like Clint said, more than anyone I've ever seen. I mean, that man loves wastewater, and it truly shows. I mean, from what he's done for our plant to the Good Housekeeping Awards that we've won throughout the years to taking the time to teach others about the profession and teaching wastewater classes for individuals from all over the state. He's been instrumental in some of the major projects that we've done in our community, from the Reeves project to the rebuilding of the wastewater treatment plant several years ago, to many of our sewer line replacement projects. Durwood has had a hand in every one of those. He's been a great superintendent and definitely will be missed. And I've enjoyed working with Durwood over these years. And learning from him as well. So I won't take up much more time, but just wanted to thank Durwood for what he has done for the city of Clovis, what he has done for our community, and to let him and his family know that I've enjoyed working with him, and I'll miss him, and I'll miss our friendship. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Howalt. As we continue to honor and recognize Durwood's service to the city, I'd like to open it up now. I'm gonna stand up and make room and let him come into my camera view. He's listening and watching, and I want you to be able to see him as well. So please, whoever would like to speak up next, go ahead.
Durwood, this is Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, and I just want to thank you and appreciate your dedication not only to the city but to your department. You've earned your retirement, and I just want to congratulate you on being able to retire. Thank you for all you did.
Thank you, sir.
Durwood, this is Commissioner Elliott. I just want to thank you so much for all the years of service. It was an eye-opener the first time many years ago. I went out to the wastewater treatment plant, and you explained things to us as we toured that, and I just seen how far we've came with using that wastewater to water our lawns and our parks and our schools and everything. And thank you so much for your hands-on, and we're going to miss you a lot, but don't be a stranger. We appreciate you so much. God bless you, and thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Durwood, Commissioner Casals here. I would like to thank you for your service also. Enjoy your retirement, and the best of luck to you and Tammy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Billington, Juan Garza here, Commissioner Garza here. Thank you for your years of service. You always acted very professional. I never had any complaints from you, so it is with sadness that I say goodbye to you. Take care and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Render here. I met Durwood, I don't know how many years ago, sitting out in the seats at the commission meetings. And over the years, we became friends. Fair wind following sea. Good luck. God bless, Durwood. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Madrid here. Durwood, I want to thank you for all your service and good luck on your retirement.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Rowley here. Thank you for your service, and again, just enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to share with everyone the plaque that Mr. Billington is receiving from the city this evening. It says, presented to Durwood Billington, Superintendent, Wastewater Treatment Plant, March 1994 to January 2021. And it says here, Durwood, with the heartfelt thanks of a grateful community. Thank you for sharing your time and talent. And God bless you and best of luck in the next chapter in your life.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Next, commissioners, I wanted to give the floor to Mr. Howalt because he wants to introduce someone to us. Mr. Howalt.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, I stepped away there for a second. I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to introduce to you guys our new airport director, James Harris. James was actually in attendance at our last meeting, but I had an oversight and didn't get him introduced, and so I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce him to you guys this evening. I have a bio of him real quick that I'll read to you. James is originally from Michigan and married with 5 children. He joined the Marine Corps in 2004 as an aviation operations specialist. In the Marines, he's worked as the Airfield Watch Supervisor and Assistant Airfield Chief for the Marine Corps Air Station, Beaufort, South Carolina. He was the Operations and Training Chief for VMAT-203 and VMA-231. He deployed to Afghanistan as the Personal Security Officer for the commander of CSTC-A in 2005, and to Iraq as the Air Boss Airfield Operations Chief for Sal Sinjar Air Base in 2009. After serving 8 years in the Marines, he discharged from active duty and went to flight school in Coleman, Alabama, and eventually became a police officer. While he found the career field as a police officer as a serving profession, he really missed the aviation business. So in 2015, he switched his major to airport operations management. And in 2016, he became the airport operations officer for the Greenville Spartanburg International Airport. After leaving Greenville, he went on to become the assistant airport manager for the Salisbury Wicomico Regional Airport in Maryland, and I'm sure I've messed that up twice now, and then on to Lake Charles in Louisiana as the airfield superintendent. And I'll tell you a little story that I told the Civil Aviation Board the other night when we held our meeting. But when Claire and I were interviewing James, it was the time period when Lake Charles had just been hit by 2 different hurricanes. And so enticing them to come to the land of no hurricanes probably wasn't too difficult. However, during our interview, the power and the internet had all been knocked out at his home. And so for Claire and I, it was a first, and probably for James as well, that we actually interviewed him in the casino in Lake Charles. So if you haven't had an opportunity to meet James yet, his personality is infectious. He's dedicated to his profession. And if you can't tell by tonight's agenda, he has hit the ground running, and I expect and I'm looking forward to the great things that he is going to do for our airport, CBN here in Clovis. So just wanted to take the opportunity, Mayor, to introduce James officially to the group. And with that, thank you so much. And if you have any, I'm sure James is here. And so if you have anything, I'm sure he's happy to listen. Thank you, sir.
You can unmute, Mayor.
Sorry about that, everyone. Try not to make that mistake very often. Thank you, Mr. Howalt, for introducing Mr. Harris to us. And Mr. Harris, wonderful to have you. I have actually had the chance to meet Mr. Harris briefly here at City Hall. One day we happened to be here at the same time, and what Mr. Howalt said was right. He has a wonderful personality, the kind of personality that is really easy to enjoy, and we're glad to have you here. Would love to give you the floor for just a moment, Mr. Harris, if you like.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to Clovis, and I look forward to building the airport.
Well, we look forward to that as well, and appreciate you. And the manager alluded to it, but commissioners, as you can see, many of the items in the consent agenda this evening are dealing with the airport, and so it's clear that Mr. Harris has hit the ground running and is doing a wonderful job out at the airport. So again, thank you. We're glad you're with us. Next this evening, we have a presentation of proclamation proclaiming Monday, January 18th, 2021 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And Ms. Constance Williams, I believe, has joined our meeting this evening and would speak to this. Ms. Williams, if you're ready, I'll give you the floor.
All righty. Hello, Mayor Mike. I'm here with President Joyce Pollard, and we'd like to thank the City Commission for having us here to present on this proclamation. We just wanted to kind of tell you a little bit about our event that we're having on Saturday, the 18th. Because COVID, we've had to definitely modify everything that we've done previously with our scholarship breakfast and our symbolic march that happens every year. And so we are going to turn that into a virtual event that will happen via Zoom on the 18th at 10 o'clock. We're going to be sending out digital invitations to everybody, tomorrow over the weekend. But we just wanted to come in and say hello and thank you to the City of Clovis for acknowledging Dr. Martin Luther King, his memory and his legacy, especially given everything that's happened in the last 24 hours in our country. The need to adhere to nonviolence in any type of dissent is definitely important. We must always not move to violence. And so with that saying, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Joyce Pollard, our president, for any remarks that she would like.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. I don't really have any other comments except thank you for inviting us to be here tonight to do this. And we do see an urgent need for Dr. King when he says we need more MLK, and that means more love and kindness toward each other. So that's kind of where I am today, and where I hope we all are, is to be that way, more kind, more loving to each other and to this country. So, and I just like to say, Clovis has always shown to be there for each other when there is a need, and I hope that will continue to be. Thank you very much. And hope all of you can join us on our virtual Dr. King celebration of his birthday and commemoration of his life. Thanks.
Thank you, Mrs. Pollard, for joining the meeting this evening and for your comments. They're timely and appropriate. And Ms. Williams, thank you for joining as well. And it's my privilege now to read out the proclamation. Whereas On Martin Luther King Day, we honor the memory of a person who inspired millions of Americans to participate in nonviolent protests, to support the ideals of equality for all, and was a motivating force behind a civil rights movement whose goal was to create a society tolerant of all races, cultures, and nationalities. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to strengthening the content of the American character, calling on our nation to live up to its founding principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all its citizens. As a result of his determination, spirit, and resolve, Dr. King was integral in leading one of the greatest movements of equality and freedom in our nation's history. And whereas our nation has made progress toward realizing Dr. King's dream, yet the work to achieve liberty and justice for all is never ending. As we observe Dr. King's birthday, let us celebrate his memory by performing acts of kindness through service to others. Let us live out Dr. King's teachings as we continue to work for the day when the dignity and humanity of every person is respected. And whereas Martin Luther King Day observances will be held on Monday, January 18th, and the theme this year is the fierce urgency of building the beloved community. Now, therefore, I, Michael Morris, Mayor of the City of Clovis, and on behalf of the Clovis City Commission, hereby proclaim January 18th, 2021 as Martin Luther King Day in the City of Clovis and encourage all citizens to observe this day in honor of Dr. King's life and legacy.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Williams and Mrs. Pollard, for joining us this evening. And I look forward to joining the virtual event. And we also look forward to getting this proclamation to you. Thank you for joining this evening.
Have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Appreciate you. Commissioners, next this evening on the agenda is receipts of petitions and communications. Do we have anyone that has joined the meeting, either joined the video conference or joined by phone, that wishes to provide public comment to the commission? Hearing none and seeing none, we will move on. Oh, excuse me. We do have at least one planned item under public comment and communications this evening, and that is an update on a COVID-19 update from Interim Hospital Administrator, Mr. George Cruz. Mr. Cruz, have you joined us?
Mayor Morris, can you hear me?
I can, yes, sir. Good to have you here, Mr. Cruz. We will give you the floor to give us an update from your perspective out at Plains Regional Medical Center.
Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to meet with you guys today and provide you with an update of what's going on at the hospital. I find it appropriate to kind of talk about where we've been to as well as to talk about where we're at today. I have to be perfectly honest with you. The last 3 months have probably been the toughest 3 months that Presbyterian PRMC has gone through in the 20 years that I've been here. COVID-19 has sort of wreaked havoc on us, made things extremely challenging, pushed us to brinks that we could have never imagined, but made us stronger as a team. And what I want you guys to understand is at the beginning of the pandemic, we anticipated sort of a surge that was going to be overwhelming and really never saw that. And then 3 months ago, obviously we were hit pretty hard. And for 3 straight months, we averaged anywhere between 25 to 30 COVID in-house, which may not sound like a lot, but was probably over 50% of the patients that we had in-house at any given day. So just to kind of give you an idea, obviously, you know, when you deal with 25 to 30 COVID patients, it causes a burden on a number of different levels, whether it's staffing, supplies, anything, just anything you can imagine. And the other thing that it does is the mental anguish that it causes on the staff, the exhaustion. It just was a never-ending battle that we battled every day for the last 3 months. And I'm proud to say that we banded together as a team, and we were able to do everything we could to provide the highest quality of care to help folks recover from COVID-19. And while we weren't able to help everyone, the large majority of the patients that came through our hospital, we were able to recover and send home. I am happy to say that today we started the day with 15 patients, 15 total COVID patients in-house. All of those COVID patients are on our general medical unit. We have 0 COVID-19 patients in our ICU. Our ICU is actually empty today. We have no patients in our ICU for the first time in 4 months. The biggest challenge that we had over the last 3 months with COVID-19 was our ICU. We saw some very high acuity patients. We did things that we could have never imagined we would be able to do in our hospital. And I tell you these things because I want you to really think about and be proud of the work that has come out of this hospital. And I understand that there's probably a lot of you that did not get the opportunity to see those things because obviously everything happened behind closed doors. But I am extremely, extremely proud of the work that we put forth during these trying times. I saw tears in eyes. I saw fear. I saw chaos. But the one thing that I never saw was quit. And I want you guys to understand, and I've always said this, and I will continue to say this, we have an amazing, amazing team here at PRMC, and we have proven that over the last 3 months. And it's just something that I really wanted to share with you guys and get you to understand that it was tough. It was tough. And at any given moment, anyone could have sort of folded up the tent and says, this is not for me. I have to go. I can't do this. And I'm proud to say no one did that. We did everything we could to treat every patient that came through that door. And at times, like I said, we were pushed to the brink, and we've come out at the end. And while we're not done, right, this is not over, we do see light at the end of the tunnel. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys and get you to, and allow you to understand the amazing group that you have at PRMC, and the dedication, the commitment, the sacrifice that everyone in this hospital put forth just to give the members of our community the highest quality of care that we possibly could have. And so we hope that that light at the end of the tunnel gets brighter and brighter. We do sort of anticipate maybe a little bit of a surge. If we look at modeling, we anticipate maybe a little bit of a surge at the end of this month following post-holiday gatherings and things like that, but nothing to the extent of what we faced over the last 3 months. And so, I just, again, I really appreciate the opportunity to share with you guys our journey, the struggles that we went through, the strength that we developed as a team, and the commitment that we have to our community to ensure that our community receives the utmost highest quality of care possible. And with that, I will stand for any questions if anybody has any.
Mr. Cruz, thank you so much for providing that update and for giving us a peek into the story that's taken place at PRMC over the last months. And we feel like we know we have a team out there that we can be proud of and appreciate, knowing that they're there serving our community. But we've certainly seen them shine, and we thank you for your leadership. And we thank the team out there for all of the work that they've done. And and hearing that 15 is your number today is, my heart goes out to those 15, but that's the lowest number you've shared with us in quite some time. And so I'm really, really glad to hear that. I wonder, I'll give the commissioners the opportunity to ask questions or provide comments, but I wonder if I could have you maybe speak to vaccinations and what your experience with that is, being able to vaccinate your staff, and where do you think that leaves you?
Absolutely. So I want to say it's been 2.5 to 3 weeks ago we started the process of vaccinations for our frontline staff, particularly those with direct patient care. And we were able to complete that process fairly quickly. And so we've moved on to additional staff, as well as today I did send out a message as we have offered to our first responders the opportunity to schedule nurse visits with us so that we can go ahead and provide them with their vaccinations as well. And so, as you know, the vaccination process is being done in phases. And right now, we're focusing on healthcare workers, first responders, those types of folks. And then hopefully, either by the end of this month, maybe we can move into vaccination of patients as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for making it possible to offer vaccinations to our first responders. Commissioners, I have the opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Cruz or make comments.
Commissioner Casaus, I just want to thank Jorge for his dedication. Thank you to your staff. I think you guys have done an amazing job, and may God bless you all.
I truly, truly appreciate that. It means so much. You guys just don't understand. We got such an outpouring of support from the community that really, at times when you feel like you hit your that last bit of effort you had, that outpouring of support always pushed us over that barrier. So thank you for your support.
Being a retired nurse, I know what you guys have gone through. I was a nurse back when we had that horrible bus crash with 29 students that died that night between Clovis and Melrose. So it is hard. It takes a toll on a person when you lose somebody like that. But you guys have done amazing. Keep the good work up, Jorge.
Thank you so much, Ms. Casaus.
George's Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. I've served with you on the board, and I represent the city on the board. And you came in as the interim administrator and have been, you're an incredible employee, and I know it's been a challenge. And I just want to thank you and your staff for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Mr. Cruz, Commissioner Elliott here, thank you so much for your leadership. And it looks to me like with nobody in the intensive care that things are coming around and the amount of patients you've had is lower. So I think y'all are doing a wonderful job and continue the good work and God bless you and your crew. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Madrid here. I just want to thank Mr. Cruz for all the work they've done and his crew, especially the nurses that work for him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And again, like I said, the outpouring of support goes such a long way for us. You know, we as healthcare workers, we don't ask for much. You know, we don't want to ask for the recognition. This is just what we do. It's ingrained in us, and you're not always going to hear about it. But you know, from time to time, at least from me, I just want people to understand there's a whole lot of good that happens here at PRNC. And you know, sometimes there has to be someone to be the cheerleader for the hospital to get people to understand that there's some great things that happen here and some great people that work here.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Cruz, for taking the time to join our meeting this evening and provide us with this update. And again, thank you for all of the wonderful work that your team and yourself are doing. Please let us know if there's something that we can try to do to help. And with that, you know, again, just thanks for joining our meeting this evening.
Thank you for having me again. And if you ever have any questions, I'm a phone call away.
Appreciate that very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next, I'd like to call on our Emergency Management Director, Dan Heerding, and ask you, Mr. Heerding, for an update on COVID-19, vaccination, testing, anything that you would like to share on the COVID-19 front.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. Good evening. Welcome to day 300 and something or other of this pandemic. Kind of lost track here in the last few days. So currently, like Mr. Cruz said, we are in the phase 1A of the vaccine program, which is basically our frontline healthcare workers. This does include our medics in the fire department, basically anybody that has direct patient contact in our community. I'm happy to announce that we have started to do vaccines in the city and the county overall. Been really partnering up with Dr. Micah Lansford out of Roden Smith Pharmacy, and him and his staff have been doing a phenomenal job over the last week or so since he's got his first doses in. Excuse me. He ordered more doses, or he ordered 1,000 doses, but only received 300 in. As of last night, he had went through that whole 300 doses, and he has managed to touch 21 different agencies, to include Clovis Police Department, Clovis Fire Department, Curry County Sheriff's Office, and the Curry County Detention Center. So we are working through this as he gets doses. La Casa Family Healthcare is also one of their local providers, and they have been giving out, they received 100 doses and are working their way through those doses. So it is working there. Our limiting factor is the amount of doses we are receiving within the community. We are working with Department of Health to try to get more doses through Roden Smith. They're doing a phenomenal job. Micah and his crew are doing great at this. So far, New Mexico, and this was as of yesterday, has received a little over 106,000 doses within the state, little shy of the 112,000 we were expecting. We're at about 85% of those being distributed and put in arms of folks. So we're doing pretty good. Was on a call yesterday with the health secretary, and New Mexico is one of the leading states in getting the vaccine out to the communities. So it is there. It's just our limiting factor is the dosages being brought to us. So one of the other things I want to touch on a little bit is New Mexico has put out a site for everyone to register to receive the vaccine. It's vaccinenm.org. The state is asking everybody that's on that to register. You'll enter your information. You'll ask some medical information, and everything will be pre-entered, and you'll receive a confirmation text. Once your category, if you will, based on your job or occupation is available, you will receive another message with a code to go back into that system and complete the registration. If it's a few days out, you'll get a text message or email 7 days out, 3 days out. And on that final day, you'll get another text message to do an updated health survey. That way, they have the most up-to-date information on you. Now, if you're not comfortable being on a computer doing all this information, the state launched a 1-800 number or 855 number today to get on there and register that way. It is the same number as the COVID hotline that's on the COVID or CV New Mexico Health site, and it's 1-855-600-3453. And when you're on the line, you press 0, and then you're going to press 4, and you'll talk to someone who can enter all that same information. And this is more for our folks that don't have internet connections or just not comfortable online doing this. So that is something that just came out today. Just to kind of remind everybody that the vaccine is provided at no charge to any individual in New Mexico or the United States. However, that doesn't mean a provider can't charge a fee or an administrative fee to you. Most insurance companies seem to be taking care of that, but just keep that in mind. You should not pay for the vaccine itself. So that is pretty much what I have now. I understand everybody has this question, when is the vaccine going to be for me? We can't answer that. No one can answer that. Like I mentioned earlier, we're being limited by the amount of doses we're getting into the facilities. For the most part, Roden Smith and our other providers at La Casa are getting the Moderna vaccine, which is a lot easier to store and handle and has a longer shelf life once it gets here. The Pfizer vaccine, I'm sure everybody knows, requires the ultra cold at -70 Celsius to keep going. And it's a little bit more difficult out here, and it's got a 5-day shelf life once they take it out of the freezer and get it ready for going. So it's a little more difficult to do out here. So everybody's getting the Moderna one for the most part. So I stand for any questions. That's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you for that update, Mr. Heerding. It's great information. I wondered, you alluded to the categories of occupation, and then kind of there at the end when you talked about, when people ask, well, when would it be available to me? Do you have the order of priority that has been laid out in the state strategy, or can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, Mayor. So right now we are in the phase 1A, which is our frontline health care workers or pretty much any healthcare worker that has hands-on with patients. And this includes our folks in cognitive and non-cognitive healthcare settings or any setting. Detention officers fall under that also. We were supposed to be in 1B. The health secretary alluded to that yesterday, that by today we would be going into that phase 1B. That has not come out yet. So we're not exactly sure. Based on the CDC guidelines, it looks like it's going to be like law enforcement, childcare, are folks that are 75 and older with a health condition or 65 and older with a health condition. We'll get some of our court officials, our elected officials are going to be in that category. We might get some of our grocery store folks, our food handlers, that it's a way wider variety of our population. Keep in mind, we are still being limited by what we're getting. The best way to ensure your place in line, if you will, to register on the COVID vaccine health site from Department of Health. And based on your occupation, you will be placed in appropriate line. And as those vaccines become available locally, you'll be prompted to continue the registration process and set up your appointment.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Heerding. Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Heerding? Mr. Heerding, it looks like you did such a good job that there are no questions. I know this has been a long, what is it, 9 months now, 10 months now, and you've been doing a great job. So thank you for all that you're doing to keep all of that information corralled and keep us informed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
All right. Before we leave this section of the agenda, this is receipts of petitions and communications. I'll just pause. Do we have anyone that has joined the meeting either by video conference or by phone that wishes to provide public comment? Hearing none, we will move on. Commissioners, next in the agenda is the consent agenda. This item is placed on the agenda so that the commission, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine agenda items that they wish to acknowledge, wish to be approved or acknowledged by one motion. If any proposal does not meet with the approval of all commission members, or if a citizen so requests, that item will be heard when reached under the regular agenda. This evening, we have several items on the agenda there, commissioners. I'll read them. The first is the motion to place the items on the consent. So we'll start with number 2. Item 2 is request for approval to apply for grant funding to the New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation Division for runway 1230 precision approach path indicator lighting and acceptance of grant if approved. Item 3 is request for approval to apply for grant funding to the New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation Division for airport ramp and hangar lighting and acceptance of grant if approved. Item 4 is request for approval to apply for grant funding to the New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation Division to replace obsolete signage at Clovis Municipal Airport and accept grant if approved. Item 5 is request for approval of agreement between the City of Clovis and the State of New Mexico for grant funding in the amount of $75,000 for project number 20 Echo 2528 for parks improvements. Item 6 is request for approval of agreement between the City of Clovis and the State of New Mexico for grant funding in the amount of $250,000 for project number 20 Echo 2527 to resurface and improve parking lots at municipal parks. Item 7 is request for approval of agreement between the City of Clovis and the State of New Mexico for grant funding in the amount of $100,000 for project number 20 Echo 2526 HVAC system for the Food Bank of Eastern New Mexico. Item 5 is request for approval of agreement between the City of Clovis and the State of New Mexico for grant funding in the amount of $100,000 for project number 20 Echo 2525 lighting system at Beecham Field. Commissioners, I'll come to each of you in order to check with you for any comments or questions that you may have about the consent agenda and its items. We'll begin with Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, no comment or changes.
Commissioner Garza.
Commissioner Garza, no problem with the agenda.
Commissioner Lovett.
I have no problems or changes with the consent agenda.
Commissioner Elliott.
Commissioner Elliott, no changes to the consent agenda.
Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, no comments or changes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, no comments.
Commissioner Madrid,
Commissioner Madrid, no changes.
Commissioner Render.
Commissioner Render, no changes.
Do I hear a motion to place indicated items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote?
I so move. Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner Garza, second.
Motion to place the indicated items on consent coming from Commissioner Madrid, the second from Commissioner Garza. Could we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Elliott,
Yes, Commissioner Elliott.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Render,
Commissioner Render, aye.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Madrid,
Commissioner Madrid, yes.
Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, yes.
By a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried and the items are placed on consent. Do I hear a motion to approve or acknowledge all items on the consent agenda?
Commissioner Lovett makes a motion.
Commissioner Garza, second.
Motion to approve or acknowledge all items on the consent agenda from Commissioner Lovett and second from Commissioner Garza. Could we please have a roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant,
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Render,
Commissioner Render, aye.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Madrid,
Commissioner Madrid, yes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott.
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. By a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried. Thank you. Moving on in the agenda, next is introduction and adoption of resolutions and ordinances. Two items there this evening, Commissioners. The first is request for approval of introduction of an ordinance adopting a municipal gross receipts tax. And to advise on that is Ms. Burrows.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Good evening. Ordinance number 1953-2011 created a 0.25% gross receipts tax obligated to the Eastern New Mexico Water Utility Authority for the development, planning, financing, construction, operation, and payment of bonds for the Ute Reservoir Pipeline Project. It was adopted on February the 3rd, 2011 by the Clovis City Commission. Section 6 of Ordinance number 1953-2011 included a delayed repeal after 10 years, which takes effect June the 30th of 2021. Included in your packet this evening is an ordinance to continue that gross receipts tax, allowing the continuance of the taxing authority. The language in the ordinance before you this evening is the same as the language from the 2011 ordinance and has been approved by David Monteith, who is the local government liaison with the Office of the Secretary for Taxation and Revenue. With that, I stand for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Burrows. Commissioners, I'll go to each of you for any comments or questions. I think it's important to point out, maybe particularly for the viewing public, that we are not considering a tax increase or adding a tax. This is a continuance of a tax that has been dedicated to paying the city of Clovis dues to the water authority, and we would have another 10-year time horizon on this. So I'll go to the commissioners in order, beginning with Commissioner Garza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have any issues with this. I think this is just for introduction. So as we learn more from the public, we can make more decisions about this. But I think it's a good practice to keep this in place. As a member of the Eastern New Mexico Water Utility Authority, I think it's a good idea to have this type of dedication for the program for the project. And I think it's good practice to keep it in place.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Next, Commissioner Lovett.
At this time, Commissioner Lovett, I don't have anything to add at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Elliott.
Commissioner Elliott has no issues with it.
Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, no comments.
Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, no issues.
Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner Madrid, no comments.
Commissioner Render.
Commissioner Render, no comment.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, I concur with Commissioner Garza. We both sit on the Water Authority, and I'm fine at this time with it.
Okay, thank you. If there are no other questions or comments regarding this, do I hear a motion?
Commissioner Garza, make a motion.
Madrid.
Sounds like Commissioner Garza made the motion to approve, and the second came from Commissioner Madrid. Could we please have a roll call vote, Ms. Burrows?
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Render,
Commissioner Render, aye.
Commissioner Rowley,
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Madrid,
Commissioner Madrid, yes.
Commissioner Casals,
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott,
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. By a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried. Next item. Under introduction and adoption of resolutions and ordinances is request for approval of introduction of an ordinance relating to the Economic Incentive Board and amending existing code sections. Commissioners, you have information in your packet regarding this, and a draft that's what we're looking at and what you're being asked to approve this evening. As I looked at the makeup of the Economic Incentive Board and the fact that we had the city manager position chairing that board, I thought that it would perhaps be better if we didn't have city staff and city management chairing any of our boards or committees, and rather I would like to see citizens doing that. This is, after all, the citizens' local government. And if you think about what this board does, they hear presentations from the economic development organization that we're contracted with to do economic development. They hear presentations of economic development projects that are applying for incentives. Again, those incentives are citizens, taxpayer dollars, and I just think it's important that we have citizen representation. I think that is the best of situations. So what you're looking at there would actually remove the city manager position from the Economic Incentive Board, and secondly, what you're looking at here is removing the voting position that CIDC has on the Economic Incentive Board. CIDC is the organization that we've contracted with and pay to do the work of economic development and find these projects that might come before the Economic Incentive Board. I just think that it would make the board more sterile if we didn't have someone from CIDC or a person sitting on the board appointed by CIDC when it's CIDC that's coming and making that presentation. Again, I just think that it would be best if that board is made up of citizens. And as you look at the makeup of the board, if we remove these two, you would have 9 members. Now, instead of 11, you would have 2 representatives of the banking, finance, and accounting professions. You would have 1 representative of utility service providers, 1 representative of industry, And then you'd have 4 members at large nominated from the individual commission districts by the commissioners representing those districts. So you commissioners would put those 4 on. And 1 member that is a resident of Curry County, but who does not reside within the city of Clovis. And so I think with that makeup of the board, we would have a great representation, people well suited to hear a presentation from CIDC on an economic development project that's seeking incentives. And so hopefully I've explained that well enough. I'm certainly open to questions or comments that you may have. I'll go through each of you, and we'll begin with Commissioner Lovett.
Appreciate that, Mayor. I will say I've had a few phone calls on this, and I always like when the public engages the commission, and so I appreciate those phone calls. I know that the board was set up due to some losses that the city incurred many years ago, and I think the board has done a good job. I think with that, I think taking the city manager out of a voting capacity is the right thing. He still has the ability to make his opinion known and get the facts to the board, but not only to the EIB board, but also to who he reports to the city commissioners and to the mayor. So I'm in favor of this change, and that's all I have at this time.
Thank you for that, Commissioner Lovett, and you actually made a good point that I had failed to make is that the city manager and what's being proposed would still serve in an ex officio position, and as you indicated, would provide the input that the city manager would have on any of these things. In addition, the executive director of CIDC serves as ex officio member, as well as the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce and the president of Clovis Community College all serve in an ex officio capacity. So you have everyone there and able to give input. It's just that those casting a vote are free to vote their mind and their heart because they aren't also representing either the city or CIDC. If that helps to clear that up. So next we were going to check with Commissioner Elliott.
Yeah, I think the change is good. I have no problem with it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Rowley?
Commissioner Rowley, no comments or questions at this time.
Commissioner Casals?
Yes, I am all for the city manager becoming an ex officio. I have a question for council. Is there a reason that we couldn't have 10 in the committee?
No, there's no ordinance that I'm aware of that designates the number of members. But Ms. Burrows may have a different say, but I looked at it when we were drafting the motion, and I don't believe there is.
I feel like CIDC works hard to recruit businesses, industry, and I don't think there would be a problem with having a voting member from CIDC in the committee. I think the director of CIDC could be an ex officio, but I do feel like there should be a voting member from CIDC. That's not to say that he's going to vote yes on everything that CIDC proposes.
Appreciate those comments, Commissioner. And as I thought about that, that's correct. They wouldn't necessarily vote in line with what's being presented. But again, by the time, if you think the process through, by the time CIDC and the director of CIDC in his ex officio capacity is presenting a project to the Economic Incentive Board, by that time, the executive board of CIDC and perhaps other members of CIDC would have been able to have input. And it's understood that the executive director of CIDC presenting that would be economic development project. it comes with the support of CIDC. So that's why I've landed where I have on thinking that we don't necessarily need a voting member on the board from CIDC. But I appreciate your comments, and I understand your side of that as well. Commissioner Casalso, I wanted to give you the chance if you had anything else to.
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Next, Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner Madrid here. I also had some calls on this ordinance, and I'm satisfied with the city manager not being on the board and CIDC not being on there. I'm satisfied with the 9 members. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Render.
Commissioner Render, no comment at this time. I concur with the mayor and Commissioner Love comments.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, thank you, Mayor. I think it's well written. I think it's definitely important for the city manager to be available to make recommendations and listen to the conversation that's being discussed, but not to have a vote. So I'm fine with the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. And lastly, this round is Commissioner Garza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did receive some phone calls too, also with the concern of Mr. Howard not being able to vote on these issues, on some of the issues that arise from some of the meetings. But I think keeping it simple and to take any conflict of interest out of the equation, I think is a good practice also. Besides, the buck stops with the city commission. So any decisions that we need to make is going to fall on us. If we make the wrong decisions, then still it falls on all the commission. So I'm okay with that.
Okay. Thank you for that, Commissioner. Having checked with each of you, is there a motion?
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, I'll make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Garza, second.
We have a motion to approve from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant and the second from Commissioner Garza. Ms. Burrows, could we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Render.
Commissioner Render, aye.
Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett.
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner Madrid, yes.
Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott.
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza.
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. By a vote of 8-0, that motion has carried. That is unfinished business. We have nothing to deal with there, so we move on to new business this evening. And we have one piece of business there, and it is request for approval to change the wastewater treatment plant superintendent position from non-exempt to exempt and budget change. And Mr. Howalt, would you advise on this, please?
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. I've actually invited our new HR Director, Cindy Wentworth, to be with us this evening to present this item to you. So I am going to turn it over to Ms. Wentworth, and then, of course, we'll be available for any questions that you may have.
Great, thank you. Welcome, Ms. Wentworth. We're glad to have you.
Ms. Wentworth.
Did we? There she is.
Here I am. Sorry. Hello, Mayor Pro Tem, Justin, and the commissioners. I just wanted to discuss with you today moving the wastewater treatment plant supervisory position to an exempt position from a non-exempt position. During the classic compensation study, it was determined based on attrition that we would start addressing some of these issues regarding the FLSA categorization for exempt and non-exempt. So we have had one of those positions come up recently. Of course, you got to see Durwood today and get to hear all the wonderful things that he did. But currently that position is an hourly position at a pay grade of 52. We are proposing to move that position to exempt and move it to a pay grade of 58. The purpose of this is to, for many reasons, but some of the things that benefits the city is that attracting candidates with more experience, succession planning, assigning more responsibility to take on additional projects and work assignments, and then creating a difference between exempt and non-exempt positions. Thus, there's a culture shift for leadership roles. It helps with some of the professional certifications, as well as provides an expectation for career paths within the city. So we would like for you to consider approving the wastewater treatment superintendent position to be moved from non-exempt to exempt. In addition, in the future, we would like to submit the list of the proposed positions that we would look at moving from exempt to non-exempt, or from non-exempt to exempt, so that you could do this in one fell swoop instead of every time that we have an opening, us having to come to the commission to get approval. I'm open for any questions.
Ms. Whitworth, this is Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. My only question is, or not question, going from 52 non-exempt to 58 exempt,
yes, sir.
That would eliminate any overtime for that position? Is that
correct? When you go to an exempt position, you are no longer eligible for overtime.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that that explanation, Ms. Wentworth. Let me check with each commissioner to see if there are questions or concerns. We'll begin with Commissioner Elliott.
Mayor, I have no concerns.
Thank you. Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, no questions or concerns.
Thank you. Commissioner Casals.
No concerns.
Thank you. Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner Madrid, no concerns.
Commissioner Render.
Commissioner Render, no concerns.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, did you have your questions or comments?
I did. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And Commissioner Garza.
No comments, no concerns. Thank you.
Lastly, Commissioner Lovett.
I don't have any concerns.
Okay. Mr. Howald, did you have anything to add on that?
Mayor, as Ms. Fuller said, we do have several other positions that were proposed in the class and compensation study. And so at a future agenda item, we will bring that entire list to you for consideration. And also as part of that, and just to let you know that as part of our analysis on moving the position from non-exempt to exempt and from a grade 52 to a grade 58, we did review the amount of on-call and overtime pay that the existing employee was receiving. And so, because we wanted to make sure that we were compensating them appropriately for going from that non-exempt position to an exempt position. And so what we proposed in front of you this evening did take that into consideration based off of historical information. And so we are definitely comfortable with what we're proposing these grades to be at. Another benefit that actually comes with the wastewater treatment plant superintendent position is the city of Clovis does own a home out there on site at the wastewater treatment plant. And so when we go to advertise this position, we plan to recognize that as part of that potential compensation. So we'll probably advertise it as if the potential candidate does select to live on site versus not selecting on site. And so we'll have that accounted for as well moving forward within this position. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions also that you may have.
Great, appreciate that. Commissioners, unless something that Mr. Howald had to say raises more questions, in which case I'd ask you to just speak up and interrupt. Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion on this item.
Commissioner Garza, move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Garza made the motion to approve, and the second came from Commissioner Casals. If you could please have a roll call, Ms. Burrows.
Commissioner Rowley.
Commissioner Rowley, yes.
Commissioner Lovett.
Commissioner Lovett, yes.
Commissioner Madrid.
Commissioner Madrid, yes.
Commissioner Casals.
Commissioner Casals, yes.
Commissioner Elliott.
Commissioner Elliott, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, yes.
Commissioner Garza,
Commissioner Garza, yes.
Commissioner Renda.
Commissioner Render, aye.
Thank you, Ms. Burrows. By a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried. Next is reports of boards, officers, and committees. I'd like to briefly share under this section this evening and just let you know that if you weren't already aware that the local CARES business continuity grants that we did here at the city, that the second round is complete, and the majority of checks were handed to those business owners on the 28th and 29th of December. And so that was very rewarding. And just as a reminder, there were 104 businesses in the second round that received funding. And gosh, I'm sure glad we did a second round, aren't you? To be able to help that many more businesses was certainly worth it. And just as a reminder, that total distributed through the local CARES grant funding process was $4.2 million. And so we have, I think we've really been favored through this process, and it's my hope that money really does a lot to help pull our local businesses through this difficult time that we're all facing. I also wanted to report briefly. You've all heard me talk about the LEDA legislation and the bill that we have there. That's been a lot of work and a lot of time put in. Ms. Burrows and Mr. Howalt have helped me so much on that. Just as a reminder, Senator Woods is sponsoring that bill, and Senator Stefanix is sponsoring that bill. I learned something in the process. I thought that we could have and actually had identified a sponsor in the House, but because this bill was endorsed by the Economic and Rural Development Interim Committee, it cannot be introduced in both chambers. So what's happened is the representatives from around the state that were interested in sponsoring it in the House are simply signing on to the Senate bill as it's introduced in the Senate chamber. So anyway, that'll be fun to watch, and obviously we're hopeful that bill passes. Again, that bill passing would give us the opportunity then to go back out to the voters here and potentially eventually be able to use a portion of the economic development funds that the city collects through gross receipts tax. We could use those funds to support retail as economic development, both recruitment and expansion of existing retail. So we would be able to look at projects for retail. That's all I had on those two things. Do we have anyone else that would like to report under reports of boards, officers, and committees? Okay. Then let's move on and talk about future agenda items. Mr. Howalt, do you have any future agenda items? You kind of alluded to a future agenda item or two throughout the evening, but I'd give you the floor to talk about future agenda items.
Correct, Mayor. And the only item that I have right now is the bringing to you the remainder of those positions that potentially be going from non-exempt to exempt. And with that, I defer to Ms. Burrows if she has any additional ones, and it doesn't look like she does. So that's all we have at this time, Mayor.
She's shaking her head no. So all right, very good. Well then, we will move on then and talk about announcement of date, time, and place of city board and commission meetings. And we have a few there. I haven't been notified that any of these have been canceled, so I'm going to read them out. We have a Water Policy Advisory Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m. Tuesday, January 12th. These meetings appear to all be planned to be held virtually. Lodgers Tax Advisory Board meets at 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, January 12th. Senior Services Committee plans to meet at 3 p.m. Thursday, January 14th. We want to make a note that City Hall will be closed on January 18th for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Finance Committee will meet at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, January 20th. And our next City Commission meeting will be January 21st at 5:15 p.m.
Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner Render.
I would like to take a point of privilege for a second, if I may.
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I would like to read a letter from R.L. Rube Render, Clovis City Commissioner, District 4, to Clovis Mayor Mike Morris, Copy City Manager and Assistant City Manager. Subject letter of resignation. This letter is to inform you that my intent to resign my position as Clovis City Commissioner for District 4 as of January 20, 2021. It has been my great and good fortune and high honor to be elected to represent the citizens of Clovis, and I have endeavored to perform the duties of this office to the best of my ability. I do not take this decision lightly and have spent considerable time considering all options available to me at this time. Recent events in my personal life have caused me to review my circumstances and forced me to make some difficult decisions. My sincere thanks and warmest regards go to the members of the Clovis City Administration who make our city run smoothly. The same goes to you, Mayor, and to my fellow commissioners. Finally, to the many city employees who regularly work for the betterment of Clovis, you have my undying gratitude. Many thanks for the time you spent in caring and feeding of this Clovis City Commissioner. Respectfully submitted, Rube Render, Clovis City Commissioner, District 4. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Render. As hard as it is to hear you read your resignation letter, I am trying to move very quickly from feeling sad about that and move on to being happy for you, my friend, because I think that you've earned a retirement that you could spend with your kids and grandkids, and I hope that you get to do that, and I hope that the Lord blesses you in this phase of your life. I personally would like to thank you. I know each of the commissioners would like to say something, but I have to thank you for the privilege it is to have gotten to know you. I wish I could have worked with you and served with you longer, because I learned something from you every time we talk. And I admire you and appreciate you for your military service to our country, and your service as a commissioner has been exemplary. And you're a role model to the rest of us as citizens. You're a fantastic citizen and servant, and made of the very best stuff, Mr. Render. And I'm thankful that I've had the chance to serve with you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
Commissioner Render, it's been a pleasure. You're a wonderful friend. You've been a great servant. Your time in the Marine Corps and the service to our country is so appreciated. I thank you so much for that. Thank you for your friendship, and pray for this next chapter of your life that it'll be rewarding and wonderful. And Lord, just continue to bless this man. He loves you and you love him, I know. So good luck, old buddy. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Gary.
Commissioner Render, I have to say thank you. It's been a pleasure to represent District 4 with you, and I just want to wish you the very best.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Commissioner Render, this is Commissioner Lovett. I have enjoyed getting to know you through many facets of the city. I wish I had these nice jokes or comments as you make your way to your next destination, but I couldn't do you justice except to say that you've been important to me, you've been important to the city, and you'll be missed but not forgotten.
Thanks, Leah.
Rube,
Yes,
I will miss you. I will miss your wittiness. You are a joy to work with, to visit with, And like I told you, I wish you nothing but the best. Enjoy your grandkids, your daughters, and I'll be calling you when I go to Lubbock for a cup of coffee.
Thank you, Helen. I'm hoping you'll buy.
Yeah, good luck.
Commissioner Render, you and I had a conversation about this already. Again, you will be missed. It's been a pleasure working with you, serving this wonderful community that we live in. You're just a few steps away from coming to this community again. So whenever you feel like coming to visit Clovis, you know where we at. And best of luck to you, sir. Thank you in your retirement.
Thank you, Juan.
Commissioner Render, this is Fidel Madrid. Hey, I sure enjoyed serving with you. And I hope you have a great time with your grandkids in Lubbock. And like Commissioner Casal said, when I go to Lubbock, I expect you to pay for the meal since you live there. So anyway, thanks for what you did for us.
Thanks, Fidel. Be sure and tell your wife that I said hello.
I was going to mention that, but then I said that it would be a private joke between you and I, but since you brought it up.
Commissioner Render, thank you for everything, for all the answered questions that I have, and the table will never be the on a lighter note, I would like to say, you know, I have sat through and stood through probably thousands of people leaving and going off into the sunset. And I have to tell you that this is one of the very few where most of the accolades are very accurate. Thank you so much for that.
Spot on, Commissioner Render. Do we have anyone else that would like to make a comment?
Mayor and Commissioner Render, I too would like to echo everybody else's sentiments and say it has been definitely a pleasure getting to know you over these several years. And as a Juilliard trained city manager, I'd like to say that that's a lovely shade of blue that you have on this evening.
Thank you. So.
And Commissioner, I'd just like to echo Mr. Howald's sentiments. I've so enjoyed, you should get the prize for the private citizen coming to the most commission meetings. I think for the 20 years that I've been going to the commission meetings, you've certainly been tracking with the majority of them as a private citizen before you became a commissioner. And it's been such a pleasure getting to have some spirited debate with you and just your friendship. I so appreciate that. And I too will visit you when I come to Lubbock. I'll bring a flask of coffee or something.
Thank you, ma'am. I expect to hear from young Sergeant Ford.
Commissioner Render, you're right. Mayor, thank you. Commissioner Render, Semper Fi, job well done. We will miss you greatly.
Thank you, Chief.
Any other comments for Commissioner Render? I didn't want to miss anyone. And you're right, Commissioner, those were very accurate accolades. So, I'm glad everyone went so easy on you. And again, congratulations on what I'm sure is going to be a wonderful next chapter in your life. And with that, folks, I just would remind everyone that it's 2021. Happy New Year to you. I know that 2021 is going to be good to you. It's going to be good to Clovis. I pray every day for the health and prosperity of Clovis. And that's for each of you as well as every citizen. And with all that's going on in our country, if you turn the news on, it can be overwhelming. And a lot of us feel like we must find a way to fix it. But it's going to take all of us starting with ourselves. I just encourage you to let love be your motivation, and let's make it our goal as the people of Clovis to try and outdo one another in showing honor and in being good to each other. With that, we are adjourned.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Semper Fi.